Yo, what is up? Welcome back to a new video. It's been a while, about a year. Anyways, I'll talk about that later. But anyways, let's get into the Rainbow Six Siege operator tier list. Let's start with Ashe. Okay, I would put her S tier, but they took away the ACOG on the R4C, so she's S. Bandit, can't go wrong with Bandit. You got barbed wire, you got nitrocell, you got a strong secondary, good primary options. His gadgets are very useful in all game modes, so I'd say he's a solid S tier. Blackbeard is D. His weapons are kind of eh. His gadgets weak at the moment, and he's just kind of slow. Blitz, he's annoying to play against, but he's strong. But with the new operation coming out, he's going to be nerfed because of Maestro, so I'm going to put him, instead of S, I put him in A. Buck's interesting. He's kind of like Sledge, but in a way better, because you can kill people with the skeleton key a lot easier than you could kill people with the sledgehammer. His primary weapons are overall really strong, and he also has grenades and flashbangs, but you don't run flashbangs, you run grenades. So I'm gonna put him A. You can't really go wrong with Buck, and it's also easier to shoot out floors. I'm gonna put Sledge B. I really like Sledge. His guns are real strong. His gadget's very useful. You can't go wrong with his gadget, but his utility is not as good when it comes to shooting out the floors and shooting out ceilings that are above you like Buck can do. So for that, I'm gonna put him below Buck in B instead of A. Capitao, now this is interesting. So I would put him B normally, but new operation with Warden, his gadget's going to be a lot less useful. So for that, he's going to go in the C tier. His guns are pretty decent. They're kind of slow shooting, but they have good recoil. Like his AR has low recoil, and overall they're pretty decent, but his gadget is not going to be as useful in the new operation. Castle, easy E tier. He's not useful really. Like there's not really a reason for you to use him. Like if you put his gadget on a window, it's an easy fuse. If you put it on a door, you could someone could just breach charge it or Ashe charge it or sledge it. And also it's just annoying for your teammates because they can't rotate through that door anymore without having to use an impact or an other explosive to go out there quickly, and that gives away their position. So for that, E tier. Caveira, she is put her in A. She, for higher ranks, she could be, it could go either way. It could go S if it's a good Caveira, or B. You know, I'm gonna actually put her in B because Caveira is very situational and like based on the player, and if the player isn't good at positioning and being aware of where the enemies are, she's not going to be as useful. But if the Caveira is really good and knows how to position herself well and knows how to get around the maps, then she could be solid A or S tier. But for what I've seen and what I experienced in the gold ranks or just playing casual, she's not as useful. So for that, I'm going to put her at B with Sledge. Clash, D. She's pretty whack. Guns kind of suck. Her gadget's not that interesting. She's just kind of meh overall. Okay. Doc, A. Solid weapon choices. You got the Meme Machine P90. You got the MP5, the consistent ACOG having gun. And its gadget's very useful. And to go alongside him, Rook is going S because his gadget is you just place it down. People get the shield and So the reason why he's above Rook is because it's not an active ability, it's passive. So at the beginning of the prep phase, you just place down your armor plates and then that's it, your job's done. With Doc, you have to stay alive, you have to like be able to heal people, so if you get taken out early, it's not that good. But if you are a good player and you play Doc, he's solid A. But if not, he's like B, maybe even C when it comes to like silver or like bronze players. So Dokkaebi, I'm gonna put her a B tier. Her weapon choices aren't that great. Her DMR I really like, but you have to be good at aiming, and if you panic when you shoot, like I do sometimes, she's not as useful. And the Boss G is like kind of a meme gun. Like you could do decent with it, but it's not that great. Doesn't have an ACOG. It's only 2 shots, so if you miss those shots, you're gonna get rushed and get fucked on. But her gadget's really useful at figuring out where players are based on the auditory warning, and it's actually a pretty decent counter against like Pulse players or Caveira players. So for that, instead of being C, she's B. Echo, I'm gonna put him in A. His gadget's very useful on bomb, and also kind of works similarly to like a Valk Cam, where it's just good if you have positioned well. It's good to just scan players and like know where people are, and it also just frustrates the enemy team and gets them out of the game when you constantly just hit them with the Echo drone. Also, his weapon choices solid. His MP5 SK, so it's an MP5 like Doc or Rook, but it's suppressed, and you could have an angled grip on it, unlike Doc and Rook. So for that, I would say he's A. He's not S just because you have to be alive to really use this gadget effectively and be able to hide yourself while droning, so you don't get killed while on your phone. Okay, so now Ella's also A. I would say her gadget's useful, stuns players, gets like makes them slow, they can't aim as quick, like distorts their screen. That's very helpful. Her weapons are pretty good. She's 3 speed, she can run around the map. Like she's a solid choice if the player knows how to roam. Finka, B tier. Weapons aren't that great, but her gadget's useful and can pick teammates up from distance, although it does put them on 5 health, which is why she's not A. If it put them on like 20 health like the regular pickup does, I'd put her at A, because that's very useful. If you have multiple teammates down, you could just pick them right back up to 20 health plus the 25 from the boost, so they'd be at 55 for a short time. But because of that, she's B. Frost, I'd also say she's B. Her gadget's not as useful in higher ranks, but it still like can catch players off guard. Her weapon choices are solid. She has barbed wire and a deployable shield as her secondary gadgets. I think she's overall a very solid operator, and you can't really go wrong with picking her, but you might want to see another operator on your team instead of her at certain times or on certain objectives. Fuse is C. Hostage, you can't play Fuse really, and when you get to higher ranks, the players can hear when you're placing the charge, and they'll shoot it out if they're close enough, or if they can see the window. His weapon choices are kind of weak. He's really slow and clunky, and overall I would prefer to have a different operator on my team than Fuse. So Glaz, he's also, I would say, B. His gadget's pretty decent. His gun's strong, but when it comes down to him being the last one alive and it's like close quarters, it's just not gonna work out. So for that, I would say he's B. And actually, you know what, I'm gonna move him down to C, because new operation, Warden, just like Capital, using his smokes, it's not gonna be as helpful, so he's gonna go down to C. Hibana, easy S. Gadget's great, weapons are great. Thermite, I would put at A. His weapons aren't as strong, but his gadget is very useful. But if you only have him, I'd rather have only a Hibana than only have Thermite, because Hibana can get hatches and a wall, or just make peek holes in walls, while Thermite can just blow up in a big hole, and it feels like a waste to use it on a hatch because he only has 2 charges. Maestro, I put him at B, because Gadget's going to be pretty useful in the new operation, trying to get out Nook, decent weapons. So yeah, B. He could really annoy players that don't have, like, annoy teams that don't have a sledge to break his cams, or if you put it on a wall where they can't really use an explosive to break it. So I'd say he's B. And depending on how you know how to place the cams, then he's really good. But if you don't know, then he would become more of a C tier operator. Alibi, I'd say she's an A tier. Her weapon choices, I prefer, like her SMG, I prefer over Maestro's LMG because the recoil is easier to manage. Her gadget's very useful for tricking enemies, especially in like gold or lower ranks like that. Once you get higher ranks, she's not as useful, but her weapon choices make up for that. So for that, I'm gonna put her at A. Tachanka, yep, up there. IQ's a C. Her weapon choices aren't that bad, but her gadget's not that great because you have to use your pistol with it, and it's only very useful against Vigil players, like finding Valk cams, and that's pretty much it, because at this point in the game's lifespan, most players know where the cameras are, so they're able to shoot them, and you don't really need IQ to do that for you. And also, if you know that there's a Kapkan, most likely you're gonna look for Kapkan traps, so there's no point really to run her, except for like if you get lucky with what the other team picks, if they have a Vigil or Pulse. So or Warden in a new operation. But Jackal, I'm gonna put him S. His gadget's very good at finding roamers like Ela or Alibi and Caveira and Vigil, and his weapon choices are very solid. His AR is very nice. I like it with the angled grip and the ACOG. His PW is nice with the you could do the angled or vertical. I prefer vertical because the recoil is just a little bit too much for me with an angled. But yeah, overall, solid weapon choices, solid gadget, A tier. Jaeger will join him in the, or sorry, S tier. Jaeger would join him in the S tier, or actually no, SSS tier, like Bandit. Solid weapon choices. Really useful gadget. You really can't go wrong with it. You just place it down, lets it do a thing. You place it by a window, place it by a wall. If they try throwing anything past that wall, it just gets shot. Yeah, he's 3 speed. He can run around the map. He can like get into positions quickly. So for that, I would say that he is in the top tier with Bandit and Tachanka. Tachanka is just the Lord, so of course he's up there. But Kaid, I would say Kaid is Kaid's B tier for me. Similar to Bandit, his gadget is very similar to Bandit, and in a way is like if you took Bandit's charge and Ela's mine and put it together into one. It's a throwable Bandit battery that can get 2 walls, but since he has, I think, 2 now, it's not as useful. He can only get 4 things at once, or maybe like 5 depending on how you throw it. But his weapon choices is what puts him in B and not A, because his gadget is very strong and I really like it, but his weapon choices, he has the AUG shotgun, which is a slug shotgun, which is cool, has a lot of recoil and hard to manage. And then his SMG is on the weaker side. It shoots kind of slow, doesn't do a lot of damage, doesn't have an ACOG, so he can't use it at long range. So, and his pistol, they nerfed it, so the recoil is a lot higher and it's harder to manage. And overall, I would just say that he's kind of like, you can't really go wrong with him, but if the player isn't that great at controlling recoil on single shot weapons that have high kick, he's gonna be not that useful. Kapkan also B tier, pretty useful weapon. His guns are solid. His SMG is a laser beam if you can control the recoil, because that's very low recoil. Doesn't shoot that fast, but it's consistent. Similar to the L85 that Sledge and Thatcher use. And his gadget's good at taking or hurting those players that rush in and don't really look for the traps. But in higher ranks, not as useful, because you only see those rushes and players not being attentive in lower ranks. So for those reasons, I would put him in B instead of A, and I don't think he deserves C because of his weapon choices. Lesion also goes B. Solid weapon, but for his gadget, you have to be alive for a long time to really utilize it. You can't like prep it like Cap can, where you just do it in the prep phase. You have to do it in the middle of the round, and just throwing the gadget can give away your position. But other than that, he has solid weapon choices and impact grenades for rotations. So I'd say he's B. He's solid. You might want to see another defensive operator on your team, but you're not going to be super disappointed with having a Lesion, especially on bomb, when if they get hit with it, they have to pull it out and then plant. So if that happens like with 5 seconds left on the clock, they're going to be in trouble. Lion's also going to be B. They nerfed his gadget. It's not as useful right now. It's not bad, but it's not great. I don't really prefer his weapons either. His AR shoots pretty slow. The DMR is bad. And the shotgun, you don't really see shotguns on attack unless you have like an SMG like Sledge does. So that would be one of the few operators that I would use a shotgun with on attack. So for that, I would say he's B. Maverick, solid A. You could get really good angles with his gun. Both of his primaries are really strong. His secondary's not that bad. He has flashbangs and I think a claymore. So solid secondary gadgets. I just think he's really fun and could piss off the enemy team when you see how you got killed. So yeah, for that he's A. Mira will join him in A. Solid gun, solid gadget. Nitro cell, which is useful with her gadget if you blow open the wall above it and you crouch when you place it, and you have it on a soft wall, so you shoot out the top row with her shotgun. You could throw the nitro cell from there. Yeah, her weapon is really well balanced. She's just a very solid defender, and depending on the objective, she can make or break that round. So for that, I put her in A, possibly S. But if you're playing in casual, like, you might get unlucky with the actually, since it's casual, now you see what location you get. You can pick Mira based on what location it is. So for that, I'm gonna bump her up to S, because casual players finally get to see what location they're going to be at, which would inform them on who to pick, and that makes Mira better for that. So S. Monty, C. He's not that great, in my opinion. Like on bomb, he's pretty useful. He can block a door, or cover the diffuser. But if it comes down to him and like 3 other operators, he's gonna get dunked on. Or if it's just him in a 1v1 or 1v2, I don't think he's gonna do that well. Mute, SS. You can't go wrong with Mute. You could block a bunch of gadgets. You can block drones. You can do a lot of things with Mute, and his weapon choices are very solid. And now he has the SMG 11 as a secondary, so using the shotgun is finally viable for him. So for that, I would put him at SSS alongside Bandit, Tachanka, Jaeger. So Nomad is B. Weapon choices, not that great. Gadgets, pretty useful, but they nerfed it, so I'm gonna put her at B. Before the nerf, I would have put her at A, because you can just shoot the thing and then the person gets launched back and stunned. Pulse, A tier. Weapon choices, very, very solid. Gadget, super useful if the player knows how to roam, and for that, I think he deserves the A tier. Smoke, also A tier. Gadget's very useful on bomb for preventing pushes. Good against shield operators, and overall, he just has a very strong kit, and you really can't go that wrong with picking Smoke. Thatcher, SSS tier, super helpful with taking out the mute jammers or bandit charges or Kaid charges. So for that, he's just SSS. His weapon choices are basically the same as Sledge, but he gets another AR that I actually enjoy using for its faster fire rate and slightly higher recoil, but is manageable. So yeah, for that, I'm gonna put him at SSS because he can literally help out the team in any way by taking out camera or disabling the yokai drones or alibis stuff or Jaeger's things. He can really do a lot of stuff. So he's SSS. Twitch, S tier, solid weapon choices, solid gadget. She could take out all sorts of traps, cameras, a lot of gadgets, mute jammers if she can see it before it takes over, like messes up her drone. So for that, she's gonna be in S. Valkyrie, A tier, really useful gadget, and in the new operation, I think it's gonna be more useful when Nook is walking around and you can see the debris, especially on Cafe. On the new Cafe, if you guys have played it, you can throw from the balcony. You can throw the camera onto a wall that and when you look at it, it covers everything from underneath the skylight to the right side of the balcony to the left side of the balcony, and that door that leads to outside by the reading room. So that camera placement is especially useful, and putting the cameras in places where the enemy team can't find it, that are very common rotation places from attackers that the defender knows about, would make Valkyrie very good operator to pick, and makes her A tier operator. Vigil, I'm gonna put him in A. Solid guns, solid gadget. It's pretty useful. You actually know it. I'm gonna drop in a B because of the warning that you get from the drones when you're nearby them. It kind of gives away your position, and also if they hear that noise that comes from it, if they're really close to you, then they can figure out exactly where you are. And also his gadget doesn't hide his footsteps from Jackal, and if they make that sort of change, I think that would be very good, and that would bump him up to A. But for right now, I'm gonna put him at B. Ying, I'm gonna put her at C. Her guns aren't that great. Her gadget's not going to be as useful in the new operation with Warden, because that leaves one enemy player that could take you out. And overall, I just don't find her all that useful. I would prefer to have another operator on my team than Ying, and for that, I put her at C. And then Zofia, last but not least, I'm gonna put her at A. Overall, her gadget is very solid. She can make an impact hole instantly. She could do that twice. She can stun players like Ella, and overall, I think that she's very solid. Her weapon choices are pretty good. I really like her AR. Yeah, so I would put her at A. You can't really go too wrong with her, but you might want another operator depending on who your team has already picked. So yeah, that's the operator tier list. We got Bandit, Jaeger, Tachanka, Mute, and Thatcher up in SSS. We got Ash, Rook, Hibana, Jackal, Mira, Twitch in S. We got Bandit, Buck, Doc, Echo, Ella, Thermite, Alibi, Maverick, Pulse, Smoke, Valk, and Zofia in A. We have Sledge, Kavera, Dokkaebi, Finka, Frost, Maestro, Kaid, Capcan, Legion, Lion, Nomad, and Vigil, and B. If I take pauses in between reading the operators, it's because I'm taking a second to think of what the operator's name is, because I am level 103, but I sometimes forget the operators' names. C tier, we have Capital, Fuse, Glaz, IQ, Monty, and Ying. D, we have Blackbeard, Clash, and E, we have Castle. So that's pretty much it. If that's all you wanted to watch was this tier list, then go ahead and click off the video. But if you want to, you can like the video, subscribe. Hopefully soon I'm going to be uploading more videos. It's just been different kind of situation going on where I can't really record or play games because of where my computer is and where I'm living. So go ahead, click off now if you don't. But for those of you that don't want to click off now, I have talked to you guys. So the reason I've been gone for a year is because my computer. I got a new computer. It was Omen desktop. It was worth about $800. The reason I didn't record or haven't been able to record is because the GPU. It was a Ryzen. It was an AMD GPU that had 2 gigs of VRAM, which is very bad, and I couldn't even play Siege at 1080p. I had to drop down to 900p lowest settings just to get 60 FPS. So I didn't want to record anything, and I wasn't able to record anything because of that. But recently, my friend, he got a 2080 Ti and had a 970 previously. So he kindly gave me his 970, but the power supply that I was in the computer was only a 300 watt power supply, which meant that I could overclock the CPU a little bit and have the old GPU in, but I wasn't able to put in the 970 because it took too much power and there wasn't enough wattage left for it to consume. But I got a 750 watt modular power supply from EVGA, so now everything's good. I can record videos and try to upload and edit and everything. So yeah, we're all good. Hope you guys enjoyed me making a tier list and giving off my opinions on, I said opinions are weird, my opinions on the operators in Siege. I really love this game and I really wish I could play it every day on my PC, but sadly I can only play it on the weekends. Yeah, I can't wait for the new operation. It looks sick. I think I'm gonna really like Nook and Warden. So anyways, this has been ya boy talking about Siege for about, I don't know how long. I'm not looking at the recording time. What you're seeing on screen is what I'm seeing on screen. So yeah, I've been rambling on for a couple minutes now, so I'll let you guys go. Please like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see another video in about a year and a half. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a few months. But hopefully I actually upload in like the next week or two. But yeah, anyways, bye.